Mike.
So you didn't last the whole night last night. What happened to you?
Man, I had a lot to do, man.
Oh man,
I had to do some prep work for the show.
That's true. Well, you had 6 hours worth of prep work right in front of you last night.
Right. For those who don't know, the Babe Ruth 13-year-olds were in the championship round of the state tournament, and they were playing Hamilton. Hamilton had to win the first game to force a decisive game. They did that, won 10-3, but A-Shore comes back and wins 5-1 in the second game to take home the title and advance. Coach, I can call you Coach now, as you're officially a coach in the summertime. What was that night like last night? A little bit stressful for you?
Yeah, we've won. This is the third straight year the 13-year-old age group has won a state championship, and it's the fourth time 13s have won a state championship overall in the program's history, which it sounds like we win this all the time, and it's like, it only happened one time in 2004. The 14-year-olds won a state championship, and then that team in 2011 won a state championship. And then because of that team, the level of talent that we've been able to attract has gone up, and we started to win a little bit more frequently. But this team here, I was told over and over again until I was blue in the face that this might not be the year. You might have a longer summer with this group. And I told them that from the get-go, that people don't think you guys are very good, and they took it personally. And we were told back on Saturday when we played Hamilton, we had people tell us, you might as well not even show up. This team is loaded. And we beat them Saturday. And here we are back in the winner's bracket final. The other night, we got there with a game where we had 3 hits. We got there in the next game, we had 4 hits. And, we just kept kind of plodding along. And I told them the other night, guys, everyone kept saying you're not good enough to be here. I said, now it's your chance to show them you are. And in that first game, we just didn't have it. Now, keep in mind, we had won Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday. You're due for a letdown game, and I think that's what happened. But I told them from the get-go, first day I meet these kids, I tell them, Dave, pitching and defense, if you pitch better and play better defense, you will win. And that's what did not happen in Game 1, and that's what happened in Game 2. We just flat-out pitched and played better defense. In every game we won, that was the recipe, and that's what happened last night. Chris Armstrong was just outstanding. Ben Brock closed it out, and we made every single play in the field. I don't know how many errors we made in the tournament as a whole, but if you take out the one game we lost, I don't know that we made 5 errors the whole tournament.
Mike, were you intimidated at all by the Hamilton coach? He was pretty fired up. At one point, a kid hits an RBI single, and he's hooting and hollering and saying, "Hey, 14 innings of fury." Were you intimidated at all?
He's an intense guy. In fact, earlier in the week, and he's a good guy. I mean, I talked to him a lot off the field. It's just, that's his personality on the field. And he had told me when we lost to them, when we beat them on Saturday, be ready for Friday. We're coming back. And he said, don't be ready for one game. Be ready for 2. A real nice guy. In fact, before the game, he said, I don't know if you've made arrangements for the regionals because we have to travel now, which, is a burden sometimes on the parents. You got to pay for hotel rooms and do that for a couple of weeks. And they had booked hotel rooms, but he had said, look, we booked at a certain rate and we'll transfer all the rooms over to you guys, so we're going to try to figure that all out sometime today, I guess. I don't know.
That's awesome, man. That's a classy move by him.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, sometimes you see guys on the field and they're one thing, but talking to a lot of these coaches, everybody puts in a lot of time, and our parents were great, the support was great, and it's like you blink and it's like, look, we got to get back on the practice field and get ready to play in the regionals. We leave probably Thursday. We're going up to Queensbury, New York. You ever spent a summer in Queensbury?
I have not.
It's up by Lake George.
Nice area.
Saratoga Springs up there, so it's not horrible.
I did take a vacation once to Lake Placid, real nice area.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, this group of kids deserves it too. I mean, we worked hard. We've had teams that are more talented in the past that just don't really want to buy in or listen, and sometimes talent supersedes heart and desire, and it's like, well, I'm good enough. And these were a great group of kids. They listened from day one. They wanted to be taught. They wanted to learn, and I think you saw last night. I mean, I think if you watch Hamilton play throughout that tournament and watched us play, you would probably say that Hamilton team is better than Atlantic Shore. But they just flat out did not allow themselves to be intimidated or lose that game. And I give them, I don't know that I can recall. I think other ones, the expectation was we were going to win or this team is good enough to win. This one might be the one that means the most because a lot of people didn't think we'd win.
We're talking with Mike Gill, coach of the 13-year-old Atlantic Shore Babe Ruth team that took home the state championship last night with a 5-1 win over Hamilton after losing the first game of that doubleheader 10-3. Coach, what did you say between games? That's a little bit tough to get these. You guys were pretty much dominating the first game. The one boy from Hamilton, I think, had 5 hits and about 4 RBIs, and he was just a monster at the plate and on the hill. What did you say to your guys to get them refocused? You only have about 15, 20 minutes to get ready for the second game.
Yeah. It was helter-skelter in that period there, but I basically told them, look, we pitched and played defense to get to this point. We did not pitch and play defense in that first game. If we pitch and play defense in this game, you will be state champions. I said, all we have to do is make the plays. If we would have made the plays in the first game, that game would have been different. We just didn't pitch. I think we hit a couple guys, walked guys, and then threw the ball around a little bit. Very uncharacteristic. I think they might have had 5 or 6 unearned runs in that game. And you're right, the kid throwing for them was 13 years old, probably about 6'1", 200 pounds, and he was throwing probably 80 miles an hour. So
yeah.
He was tough. But I knew we were putting the ball in play on him. We were putting the ball in play, and I knew if we could just, face a different guy in that second game that they had played. Keep in mind, they played us Saturday, then they played Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, one game, and then that was the second game. They were probably running low on pitching to get all the way back there. And I knew if we just were focused, and pitched. Now, I got to be honest, I thought Chris Armstrong exceeded my expectations tenfold. He pitched outstanding, and then Ben coming in. Ben had pitched Wednesday and pitched outstanding in that game, but his pitch count in that game was so low because of how well he pitched. He was kind of pushing to start that game, and I just was like, nah, you maybe can close the game. But Chris stepped up and pitched outstanding. But in fact, that was funny. I had a tear in my eye this morning. The quote the kid Armstrong gave to the paper was, Coach told us that we pitched and played defense, we would win, and that's what happened. And that's basically what I told him between the games is, Chris, just throw strikes, we'll make the plays for you.
Well, that shows you how important it is to stay in that winner's bracket in a tournament like this. Like you said, Hamilton, you guys dropped them into the loser's bracket, and now they got to play an extra day, an extra game, and kind of saps the pitching a little bit.
Yeah, and it's fair to say that if we weren't in that winner's bracket, we probably don't win this thing, because of the pitching that you got to use to get back all the way through. That shows you how good they were, that they had the pitching to make it all the way back through. And they swung the bats, man. They just kept coming at you. And another thing they did that, takes a lot of discipline. That team that won the World Series last year did it not because they outslugged teams. They had phenomenal pitching. They played great defense. But that 14-year-old World Series team bunted, moved guys over, bunted and run. This is what they were doing last night. Their coach, they were laying down a lot of bunts, and that causes like confusion and commotion and helter-skelter. But we practice fielding bunts for about 45 minutes at a time, it seems like. That almost these kids want to kill me. But the bunting game didn't really, hurt us too much in the 3 games that we played them, and I thought that was a big factor. But you're right, getting that win on Saturday night really clinched what happened last night for us, because if we don't win that game, it's fair to say we probably don't win the tournament.
And that team, Hamilton, that was a really good team. They had some pretty smooth fielders in the infield. That shortstop was a really nice shortstop, and that first baseman, man, he could pick anything.
Well, you think about Hamilton and the size of the area up there that they're choosing from. I know we hear Atlantic Shore and we hear how many towns represent us, but in reality, we don't have very many kids to choose from. We only had from the 10 towns that make up Atlantic Shore, I think we only had 18, 17 kids try out for the team. I mean, there's very lack of participation in this area. But the kids who are participating typically seem to be very talented. So we're getting low numbers, but we're getting talented numbers. But Hamilton, I mean, how big is that area up there?
It's a little bit like Tom's River area.
Yeah. So I heard we beat Washington Township on Wednesday night. They had 700 kids in their program.
Wow.
I think we have 70, maybe. Yeah,
little David and Goliath thing going on there.
Chew on that one. Yeah. Well, look, I mean, the numbers are down. Like in a lot of places, even up there, they were at 1,200 kids as of 4 years ago. They said they went from 1,200 down to 700.
Wow.
Yeah, but a lot of these kids that we had, they come from. We had a lot of kids from Upper. Joe Rapetti, Upper, Jack Perry, who made one of the best rounds of shortstop that I've seen at this level. I mean, for the shortstop at a 13-year-old level, so I don't know that he made an error the whole tournament. Maybe one. I don't remember him making one, but, a coach of the other team at one point. In one game, I think he had 6 or 7 putouts, and they weren't easy either. Barehanders. He turned around and said, "Your shortstop's phenomenal." And I don't even remember if he got a hit. I could care less because he makes every play in the field. It's hard to convince a 13-year-old that not getting the hit doesn't matter because that's all
right.
They really judge themselves by. But his defense was phenomenal. We just played outstanding defense throughout. I mean, we had a kid, Shane Solari. He's from Brigantine, and he pretty much started every single game, every inning of every game. And the one game when somebody pitches, he had to come out. He ends up getting the game-winning hit in that game because he pinch hit for the pitcher, gets a hit, and that was the hit that ends up winning the game. So we had a lot of guys fulfilling roles, moving around. And the kid behind the plate for us, Brock Mercado, I mean, when he catches for us, we're aces because nobody can run, and he's probably one of the better hitters at 13 years old. I tell you, he could compete on the 15-year-old team. He probably could play on the 15-year-old all-star team if you had a chance to go see this kid. But a lot of these kids play their roles so well and have just kind of settled into a spot. And it's kind of fun to watch them grow as they're 13 to 14s when they make that jump slowly.
Yep.
They're making the adjustment to the big field. They play the season. But now in the summertime is when they're hitting that 14-year-old spot. You're seeing them kind of mature right in front of you, and we're hitting that mature period. But it's a real fun team to be a part of.
Good stuff, Mike. Before we let you go, real quick, Cole needs some advice here. He's going to an event at the Night of Venice or whatever in Ocean City.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of a little bit of an upscale event. I said go with the plaid shorts and the button down. What do you think? Boat shoes. You got to go with that look. Am I right?
Well, it depends on the style of party. I mean, when you were a kid, when I was a kid, we would go from house to house, just kind of walking into strangers' houses, and everybody would kind of welcome you in. At an adult level, you might have to go a little classier there, Cole. Maybe tighten that beard up.
That's what I said. Tighten the beard up. Throw on the button down. Some nice shorts. Some boat shoes.
It's a little warm. It's a little warm for the button down tonight. You got one of those that has the button on the arm that you can roll up and button that arm up.
Oh, that's a good call right there. Good stuff. Good stuff, Mike, and congrats on the win, and keep us up to date on the next round, buddy.
Yeah, and by the way, congratulations. The 15-year-olds won last night. That's the third straight year that group has won. That's unbelievable. And our 14s are hosting the regionals at the Sandcastle coming up. And by the way, Sully, if I can real fast, we're going to try to get a fundraiser put together for the 13s and the 15s because both of us have to travel for about 5 days, and the hotels are not cheap.
Cool. Get the information over to me. We'll blast it out on the Glory Days social media.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
You got it. Have a good weekend, bud.
Take care.
That was Mike Gill of the 13-year-old All-Stars for Babe Ruth, Atlantic Shore.